of the year inside of 2021, but also for the points. There's still a chance here for Malvinas. There's a slimmer chance for Furious, but we've got to get 2 teams out of this bracket. And there is a chance that one of those teams is going to be sat in front of us now. But we head on into Villa.
Do indeed. Ollie, it's the Super Classico, is what you call the 2 Argentinian sides going head-to-head in a derby. Fun fact for you. Did you know that one?
I didn't know that. Have you pulled that off the top, or is that legit?
No, that's legit. Because I've just researched it about 15 seconds ago. So it's live information. It's quite hot off the press.
Subject to change.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's certainly what we've got here. Thatcher, Maverick, Cade, pretty par for the course. Nothing too surprising. The Valkyrie ban, the Mirror ban, the Wamai ban. Okay. So the Wamai ban comes through there in an attempt to remove a little bit of security for things like deployable shields. Wamai can be played in a multitude of locations here on Villa. You think toward main stairs if you're going to try and play someone with a shield and constantly replacing Wamai discs on there. And it can be good to, just sort of get hidden and hide away. I'd argue that Wamai is maybe less important now that Flores is more of a thing, but it still is a thing that teams like to play with and, as we've seen here, like to remove. But what it does leave available are 2 operators, one of which is getting 6 picked, but I'm sure we'll come to Mirror at some point. But it leaves the Valkyrie up, Demo.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. A lot of teams liking to leave the Valk up, which it's quite strange. It still is very strange to me. Last time both these teams played Villa, Ollie, we do see a bit of a switch up. Last time we seen Habana be banned out. This time it's the Maverick, and we also seen Amira banned out, and this time it's the Kaid. So last time they played each other, Valkyrie was open, so I think both of them are happy enough to give it a go and play with that. I do worry that if teams don't start bringing IQ, the Valkyrie can just go rampant. Like, we know the damage that this operator can do, and I've mentioned it plenty of times before, Ollie. This map, the destructibility you can get from below it's ridiculous. It is by far the most destructible map in the game, and you think about the sheer size of it as well, and all of that's destructible. Unbelievable what you can do with Valkyrie. Come back to the Wamai point that you mentioned, saying that, yeah, it's good for the shields. Generally, there's at least like 1 or 2 shields that we typically see. I think Goyo is also a big operator for Villa. But the thing with Flores as well is it's very tricky to actually get the Flores drones whenever Mute is like religiously ran on Villa.
Going to see some opening action here. They're not going to make us wait any time whatsoever. He's gone down, your talisman player, BLK.
Oh, what have I done to him?
Is the writing on the wall? Round 1, first 30 seconds, bang, gone.
It's not good. This isn't good. It's okay. Don't worry. Don't worry. We've got Tom. Tom's gonna pull up big. He's got the Valk.
Tom had a big game earlier on, so there's all the chance that there's another big game in him here and now. Not ideal to lose a defender so early. I don't think I certainly didn't catch it. I was taking some notes, but I'm not sure if it was an attempted spawn peek or not as to the full reason as to how BLK found himself a little bit short there. But regardless, attacking on into the kitchen. We're going to see a little bit of a line of sight be opened through there. That's just going to cut through into that B bomb site and allow you a little bit more visibility. Gives the defenders a bit less to go on here. Ooh. DJ could get himself caught there. He's maybe location known on those main stairs.
There's a bit of a sneaky one, and oh, there we go. I was wondering when's the pinch going to come in, and Ragnar swings with that frost. Oh, what a shot! What a shot with the SMG-11, and down goes Dirt. He's been absolutely filth there, Ollie. That is disgusting.
It's not just a BR6 thing, it really is a LATAM thing that all these players are pretty capable with the old SMG-11 and like to show it off from time to time. It's not stopping the attack from progressing too much. We do see Shoxo is trying to get himself in. He knows that there's something available for him inside of the site, but he's getting caught out there on the bulletproof. So we can see the rotation come now from Malvinas to just reinforce some bodies inside of the kitchen. Shoxo stacked up here. He's not really got a clear entryway in aside from that single doorway. And that's more than likely going to be being watched from somewhere. Tom going to fly in with the kill over onto Wets. And this attack is just being torn limb from limb. Shoxo going to be the next to fall. And it all lies on the Lion. But Ragnar is going to be in the right place at the right time. No clear intent there for that round demo, aside from just a single doorway push.
Yeah, looked as if they start off well. I think getting an opening pick is always gonna benefit. They had no intention of going upstairs, which was very strange to me. I think if you have that man advantage going upstairs in towards Trophy Statuary bedroom, it gives you an extra man. You know, he can sit on flank cams, whatever it is that you need. VJ was he's crouch walking around by himself. I think losing that pick on that man outside laundry doesn't help them. And then from that stage, they just all clump up and pushing single doorways in Villa, especially one in towards kitchen, it's not going to work. There's about 3 different angles you can get swung from. And because you don't have the man advantage, you can't cover off any of those angles. So you're always going to be walking into a bloodbath.
I mean, you talk about man advantage there. Let's remember that Furious Gaming went into that round 5 versus 4. BLK first off the board. Now, granted, that then allows him, when Valkyrie's in play, to be a little bit more effective on the cameras. You know, the default cameras, you're expecting them to get shot out, and if they aren't shot out, then they're unlikely to provide much use, but it's, of course, still worth flicking through them. But if the Valkyrie in play, it's an entirely different story. There's more often than not some good, solid intel that you can be gathering there, and maybe that's what he was able to do inside of that round. Although, Furious Gaming, no presence on the top floor, no intent to try and work vertically, which is, you know, either you work vertically onto that site or you come in through living room library and you go a little bit more horizontal.
Going towards
unusual to see a direct approach like that. But we move on to round number 2. And of course, a site change here for Malvinas.
Yeah. This is going to be a switch up. We head in towards, I would say, the more atypical bomb site that everyone's used to. This is, I'd say, the primary bomb site that we see a lot. It's went through quite a few changes just in terms of how the meta is adapted. I think we see actually a lot more teams trying to hold on to red stairs a bit more. I think of the Goyo plays. I mean, we've seen Clash holds up on those red stairs before Ollie. They don't last very long, albeit, you know, the red holds, it's not too strong because it's very easy to pinch somebody and get the nades tossed in, but still eats up some time, some utility, just anything you can do to make life just a little bit harder for the attackers. But a lot of it does come down to how well the attackers can get control of study in the late game. That's for me personally, Ollie. We've seen a lot of times where defenders, if they are allowed to sit inside a study, they can shut down all the pushes coming in from the map side of things. So I think study control needs to be a necessity for the attackers whenever it gets around the minute mark. You need that.
A lot of attention currently being paid over toward the north. We've got a bit of an engagement here. Socko needs to be careful. He's got the Deagle drawn here. This shows a level of confidence that will be punished. Wets is going to be in position to shut him down on the Jackal, but immediately BLK is in there with the refrag. Those red stairs demo that you were talking about, such a dangerous area to command as a defender. Your ability just to dip down, pick yourself a kill, and then get back to some relative safety. It's going to neutralize that opening pick.
Minute 15, and it's not good for Furious. The fact that they've lost a player, especially whenever you'd probably be looking at Wets to be that man to rotate over towards that study like I was mentioning, it means that somebody else has to take up that mantle and someone else has to rotate. Right now, Malvinas, they can just sit in sight. You know, they've done their job, wasted some time with the roam game, they've wasted some time on red stairs, and with the 50 seconds, they've just lost a set of Havana pelts. I don't think they could even get through that anyway with Mute Jammer's going to be placed on that wall. BLK just swings for all he's worth and finds another pick. Furious are up against it. This is not looking good. I would almost say it's a lockout at this stage, Ollie.
Looks like it could very well be. We've still got a couple of players alive for Furious, but realistically with 30 seconds, what are they able to do? The confidence here is being shown in spades by Malvinas. BLK on the quad, and doesn't look as though Shoxo is going to give him that opportunity of an ace. 20 seconds left. He is in fact going to hop himself down, get found out on the window. BLK, he's covered every inch of the map there in order to try and pick that one up, but he's managed to do it in the end. It could have been any one of his teammates. 15 seconds left on the clock in a 4 versus 1. Somebody is likely going to get the kill. It just so happens that in this round, it was BLK, and that's going to confirm the ace.
Oh, I'm as smug as a bug. Oh, I am with that one. That does put a smile on my face. I told you, he's just, he's too good. He's too good, Ollie. Confidence is key.
Well, confidence is key. He was the thing is there, aside from the last kill, which is just a bit of a whatever at that point. You know, Joxo's challenging Wolf window, and it seemed as though everyone knew he was there. They probably heard him on the roof. There's a lot of windows open at that point in the round. Sound's going to travel pretty nicely. But the important one was the trade that he got.
Yeah,
he got the trade in the first part of the round from Soko dying on the Valk. Soko was getting pushed here, there, and everywhere, and for some reason had the deagle out in his hand. I don't think it would have made much of a difference if he hadn't, but BLK was in the right place at the right time just throughout the course of the round. And Furious, again, struggling to really find that beachhead, struggling to find that area that they can take control of and start to work, start to drone ahead, start to get the utility worked, get it used, get it out there. Instead, they just constantly seem to be on the back foot.
Yeah, it's like I see two people rotate study and you don't even have 90 control. I think they just panicked. I think they seen the time and everyone just kind of thought, okay, at minute I'm supposed to be over here. But in reality, you haven't even got control of 90. Vault wall isn't open. What's the point of going study if you haven't done the other pieces? Because the whole point of opening Vault Ollie is to get them out of the bomb site, get them into study, and that's where you collapse on them. If you're skipping that step, they're just going to sit in Vault and you can't touch them even if you're armed study. That's the whole point of it. So Malvinas, even if things don't go, for Furious, even if things don't go wrong, don't go well for them, they need to try and rectify those wrong mistakes and being able to actually have a stable plan. If this happens, what do we do next? They need a plan B.
It looks as though they're going to be taking a slightly slower approach this time. They've got themselves into master bedroom upstairs. The site is going to be downstairs, living room and library. So very much a tertiary bomb site. We haven't seen trophy statuary yet. Not sure if Malvinas are just anticipating they're going to have to use all sites here, or if there is a certain dislike for trophy statuary. But we'll see as the round progresses on. Dirty's just going to drone himself up. He's got a bit of information. Taking control of Aviator Games is key. It's your entire sort of focus, or it should be the entire focus of the early part of the round, because you need that vertical control to be able to work in then onto the site. We can see just how many silhouettes are up here for Malvinas. A bit of an engagement going to happen there. Might's going to get shut down on the narrowest of angles as Wets finds the opener.
Get another good start. And that's even better for them. They've managed to maintain that advantage. It's not as if they've been refried like they did last time. So it's good from them. They have two-man player advantage. And you can see Malvinas, they're looking now to try and get some kills back. They know they're not in a good position. And up comes BLK. Somehow wins it against Wets. He should never be allowed to push up 90 in that fashion and get away with the kill and still survive. However, the other players have stormed into the site. Furious have full control of living room and library, and now Malvinas has to play a retake, but VJ is just on another one right now. 3 kills in the round. Soko has to clutch up. 1 kill he got, has to find 3 more. Diffuser planted in a perfect position if you're an attacking side. All you have to do is sit back, relax, and wait for Soko to move into the crossfire. 1 on red stairs. That's a great position that Shuxo, I think, has got himself into. Seems to be only a matter of time. He's going to try and fight back as best as he can, but with 20 seconds, has to take the engagement. It's actually Dirty on the red stairs who's sitting waiting for him. Furious, they see the holes. They seen that nobody was on bomb site Ollie, and they took it as quickly as they seen that it was empty.
Good composure for Furious as well. They saw the opportunity, they took it, and they very quickly set up a post plant to guarantee that round. It was a 3 versus 1. It would have been easy to sit inside a site and play it a little bit risky and just try and confirm the kill and have it said and done. But instead, they just took a step back and gone, you know what? We need to just take a moment here. We need to get a bit of a crossfire established. And as quick as the plant's gone down, we've got someone on red. Someone's hanging around inside a kitchen, and we've got someone a little bit deeper toward those Astro stairs. Exactly what they needed to try and stop the rot, which they have managed to do. It was a bit of a tertiary site, but we are, in fact, going to see it again. Strange decision to go back there, Demo, especially given that trophy statuary is available.
It is. But maybe that's just a personal preference. One thing to also keep in mind, Ollie, a good point that was actually made by Mr. Allen. Egos is fresh, or let's call Mr. Allen. No sledge or buck really being brought at all by Furious, which is quite strange. I've talked about the destructibility that this map gets from either top or below, but not really interested in it. Very surprising.
Yeah,
maybe that's why they want to go for these kind of mid floors, because they know they're not bringing a sledge, not bringing the buck.
Potentially, it also removes the ability for up nades, for nades thrown below to affect you vertically, because that's not something that we've seen Furious really have the opportunity to do. They've only attacked Aviating Games Room once, and it wasn't a fantastic attack as it was. There was an intention to clear that ground floor, but they didn't really ever get through with doing it. BLK had a few more things to say, I think, inside of that round. That was the round, of course, that he got the ace in. So could be some writing on the wall there as to why we are seeing this site chosen again. And don't forget, you know, you're maybe not going to give away so much of the site. Play upstairs, but play a little bit looser. Don't commit as many bodies to it, and give yourself that out. Give yourself that opportunity to go, yeah, we can drop off now and we can just bolster the site.
So Malvinas lost 2 engagements right off the rip, Ollie, didn't they? They lost the opening picks, and that set Furious up into a nice and easy attack. See Malvinas again, I think they've been very out and about on the roam game. They're not afraid to take these challenges, and the drone work comes in. DJ will trying to find one, but sadly cannot do that. Looks as if that Malvinas is actually going to fall off, because that living room and library control is actually still being held by Might. He has his wall reinforced. He has a mute jammer also. But he's by himself, which is probably the main concern you would have. If he gets picked, is anyone in a position to refrag? Maybe Socko in the Vigil, but even then he's worried about somebody else peeking in from his window there on Mud, but still holding on to as best as he can. This is the next big fight for Furious. How are they going to gain control of this living room and library?
Shoxo is going to start by removing BLK. It's not an engagement that he gets for free, though. He takes a huge chunk of damage in the process. Malvinas now have got a couple of different breaches to concern themselves with. And Lion Scan's constantly ringing through, so all the time causing them to be concerned about the location. But Mighty picks Shoxo up for free. He only needed to land 1 bullet, and he caught him entirely flat-footed. VJ picks up 2 of his own and has actually got control of site. Can he start to command from here? The vertical control and pressure that we talked about, Demo, it's come to nothing as Furious have been allowed to just push on in. Tom now looking to try and give himself a line of sight to work with, but Wets is too quick on it. Here's the C4 from a mile away, and takes his time moving on in for the kill. Back-to-back rounds here for Furious to level things up.
So, a bit of a strange approach, considering, you know, what we mentioned about the verticality not really being something that Furious are interested in. No sledge, no buck. Malvinas have attempted to try and hold them from the mid floor. If you know a team isn't going to be bringing a buck or a sledge, you know straight away, okay, they will try and attack the living room. So why not just give them it, play above, and then use the verticality as a defender? You can open up as many holes as you want and deny them from planting. It's, you know, common strategy we see a lot, Ollie. Just open up everything above and then stop them as they come in for the plant.
I think that was the strangest thing, wasn't it? You think about that site and you think about how important the vertical control is, and if anyone's wondering where the nicest vertical angles are, it's inside of the vault. And that's where you need to open up the floor. You can lay prone, and you've got some really nice lines of sight that you can work with onto sort of popular plant spots. But beyond that, you've got, of course, all of Aviator and games as well that you can try and take advantage of. So to then hold upstairs but not really see any benefit or any kills through it, it does start to beg the question. Finally, we're seeing the site change come through. I think it's high time. Especially given with how strongly we saw Malvinas start in this game. They've really let things slip up until this point, but Furious, they've fought the way back into it. 2 rounds apiece now. This first half of Villa really is anybody's.
So Trophy and Statuary, I mean, they stayed away from this for a reason. I think you're right with, again, the nades that can come in from below is very potent, especially for that bomb site. There's nowhere really that you can sit that's necessarily safe. Maybe some areas inside a statue, but even that is still a bit of a stretch. And I would say just off how Furious have been attacking this, they have been very mid-floor oriented, haven't they? They've liked to get in, they've wanted to get the fights in early, attack the roamers, and then actually look for those nades from below. So that's why they've kind of stayed away from it. But they are going to try and attempt to hold. They have extended all the way over towards the study side of things. There's at least 3 roamers over this side of the map. Mozzie will be spotted out. Sharks are going to try and take a challenge. Keep in mind, he is the hard breach, but it's not a necessity on this map. You don't necessarily need the hard breach, especially with how Furious are setting up. They're looking to try and push in towards almost a trophy take where you're extending in from the red stairs and then try and force your way in and take those big fights in towards Astro. So you're not really looking for the bedroom side. Wet has the LMG. SD4 goes out and will manage to shut down the Nitrocell before it kills them off. Wet is... Oh, are we having something?
I mean, I know the LMG's got a few bullets, but it does seem a little bit on top at this point.
What's going on?
We are going to see VJ actually push through and pick that kill up onto BLK.
He's still going.
But he's still going, and the LMG hasn't yet run out of bullets.
There we go.
We may have caught up. Got 13 left in the clip, and we've moved a little bit. But things have progressed, certainly that much is true. Malvinas, they've lost a couple of bodies there on that extension and on that hold, but they haven't let that go for free. I say that, and Wets comes through with a big kill over onto Might. That really could be another nail inside of the coffin, especially with Tom's positioning, but does manage to get a C4 for his troubles. That's one less C4 that they have now got, reducing that number to 0, and they are no longer going to be able to look to deny the plant with that, which is something that Furious have shown an intention to try and do. Prepping the site to try and push through as the utility on concrete is removed. Furious don't need to rush this next part. They've still got a little bit of information available to themselves. They can jump in an Iana clone. There's a drone for VJ as well that he can try and use. It looks as though VJ is going to try and take this advantage and take the push. One-man army, and he will be just that. 3 kills on the round. Tom playing a little bit of an off position, but being pushed from every which way. Misses a couple of shots and is punished. But it looks as though we are back into the game. And where do we join? We join at 3-2. So the decision has been made and the result will stand. Furious Gaming lead 3 rounds to 2 headed into this last round of the first split here on Villa.
3-2 is where we stand. Furious in good position now to take a very tasty half. A 4-2 in Villa would set them up nicely just to try and see it over the finish line. A lot of pressure on Malvinas to win this round also. Have a bit of a shaky period for these past 3 rounds, but they have had that little bit of a breather. They can think about what they want to do. They go back upstairs in towards that aviator in games. BLK was in a bit of a rampage here, Ollie, wasn't he? We know what he can do whenever he's on form. We'll see if he can recreate that again. He's going to need to try and drag his team through the mud. Because really, other than BLK, who else can we kind of look at and say, oh, they've played, a really good game so far? I struggle to try and find that.
And you maybe look toward, a good game so far, probably quite difficult. BLK obviously being standout because he did pick the ace up. I think everyone's had their own sort of moment, but maybe someone that we could look for a little bit more value
out. A big moment.
It's got to be a big moment to stand up for an ace, hasn't it? But maybe someone we could look for a little bit more value out of is potentially Socko on the Val.
Yeah.
There's been a couple of occasions where he's just been a little bit further out of the action that you would perhaps like, and maybe just finding himself last alive, but kind of on an island, kind of out there on his own a little bit. But we'll see how this round develops and if he is able to get himself in and get a little bit more involved. It's of course very difficult when you're trying to play that Valk role, especially if you're going to be sitting on your own cameras because your side players are being pushed.
Yeah, and he's kind of sniffing around downstairs looking for a C4 kill, isn't it? That's probably why he's kind of being left in these 1vx's. He's just off trying to find a single pick, which is typically what Valkyries like to do. You have the cameras, you have a C4. That's a combo built on success. That's always going to work. It's been that way since Valkyrie was released. A C4 and some information, free kill. So we do see a switch up of attacks from Furious. They're moving away from the trophy and statuary take and then trying to establish their control on Zombie Door and even in towards the vault. They're going full study. Full study is temperamental, mostly because you have to burn through the main stairs. And if you're a team who is not good at gaining control and using utility well, you're going to struggle. They've already lost the first engagement. They've lost VJ, who has been, for me so far, a big standout. I think, again, like you mentioned, Ollie, even in his last game, getting those opening picks, just in and about, taking it to the defenders. He's been very good at that. If he's gone, now you question who's going to be up next to bat. And well, it's Wets. He has that big LMG. But again, the refrag comes in. A lack of drone work being done by Furious. And Malvinas are able to get that refrag. Just somebody sitting inside a library. That should be droned.
A willingness to challenge being punished there. Wets putting that LMG to good use again inside of this round. A C4 threatening on the window frame as well. Wets can really start to put some shots up through the floor now, but may just turn his attention over toward those red stairs. No line scans remaining. We've got a little bit of utility left in Capital's hands as a push is going to start coming up here. A bit of drone work going out. We do see a scan come through. It will be the last one. Wets can try and push on through. Now, we know how much of a menace he is with that pre-fire that he's able to do with the LMG. It really is very relentless. You can see the diffuser now being wiggled into a position that maybe we could see a flank going down. Smoke's coming in to cover the cross, but no one there for the flank. BLK going to take down Wets as the diffuser will be stopped. And BLK actually going to come up with all the kills. Beautiful little 90 flank. Picks up Wets and just goes on one after another, knocking them down as they present themselves.
Yep, so the thing about the study, if you don't have that control, Ollie, and I think Furious, they struggle for the most part. I think that little bit of aggression downstairs, waste a lot of time. Obviously, they got the kills that they were after for Malvinas, and then from there, you're in a 3 versus 3. They didn't really have the information, I think, to carry out that successful push. Allowing BLK just to swing up through 90 like that, it's just going to be a nightmare. And yeah, BLK, all credit to him, sees an opening, takes it. That's just the standard. I mean, I'm not surprised. That's just what he does.
He's just the classic player, isn't he? You give him a little bit of space to work in, give him an opportunity, and he is going to take it. It's all about timing. It's all about positioning, and there really is nothing else to it. There's a couple of ways that you can try and come away with that round, but if you can pull off a well-executed flank, that's exactly what you need. There's maybe a bit of a question to ask there as to what happened to the drone that Wets threw over toward 90 only a couple of moments before the flank actually came through. Whether it got shot straight away, whether it was positioned badly, or whether it was actually there, and maybe that could have all been sort of stopped if the flank drone was being held. But it's maybe a conversation for another day as we do move now into the second half of Villa. Malvinas switch themselves over onto the attack. Furious the defense. Malvinas, I feel like they've got away with it there, Demo. I really do. They won the first 2 rounds and then they struggled from there on out, and they've picked up that final round to guarantee themselves a 3-3 split, but it feels like they've only just scraped it.
Yeah, just about. This is where things change now. And straight away, the big difference is, we kind of mentioned about Furious, Ollie, is no intention of the sledge, no intention of the buck. Bang, right away, Malvinas, sledge and buck. That's what you're expecting. I think this is more what we're used to. A standard looking lineup. You still have plenty of nades, you have the Gone 6s, you have a hard breacher if you need it. Like I said, hard breach isn't necessarily you know, the biggest thing in the world that, oh, you need to have this. It helps. That's the main thing about it. It helps. You know, get open vault wall, maybe open up the triple wall if you're attacking trophy statuary, but in the long term, it's all about the nade usage. It's all about going below and looking for those picks.
Nade's certainly something that Malvinas is bringing more of as well. They've got 6 in the back pocket as opposed to the 2 or 4 that we were sometimes seeing on the side of Furious. It feels like much more of a Villa lineup. There's a double soft destruction, a Finker and an Iana. That's some aggression that you bring in there. You don't always see the Finker and the Iana brought together, but when you do, you know that they mean business. Nades now being thrown as up nades. It's going to do plenty to remove a little bit of that utility that's being played inside of Aviator and Games Room. And that's really where a lot of this part of the round is going to be spent, just setting up those flank drones, gathering any info they can, hitting a few yellow pings, even looking to waste a little bit of utilities. We see a Toxic Babe canister just cutting off that main stair.
Time slowly ticking. And Sir Malvinas need to get a bit of a move on and start looking for these picks. If you're going for this strategy where you're looking to go below and get these nades, you need some nade kills to make up for it, or else it's just a useless endeavor. Another nade will go lacking. Tom cannot find VJ, who is playing so well inside of this long corridor, just dancing his way past the bars. Ragnar has TK'd, and it's all crumbling down for Malvinas. What has happened to them, Ollie?
It's a disaster, isn't it? It was all looking so good. They had a lot of control of that ground floor. They were able to affect a lot of that utility up. Sure, not all of it hit its mark, but they were doing all of the right things. Tom, going to be the next player to fall as Shoxo shuts him down. And Ragnar, well, is he going to be able to redeem himself for the TK? Likelihood is not. And Dirty is going to see to that. Furious successful there on their first defensive round, picking it up inside of Aviator and Games. They honestly didn't look too pressured there. They were happy to sort of dance around those nades as they were thrown vertically. They were happy to move themselves and rotate in and around the site. There's got to be a little bit of a missed opportunity there from Malvinas.
Yeah, I think if you look at how the defenders played that round, right? They knew straight away, all right, guys, they're going below, they're trying to use the nades, nobody's sit on site. So if nobody's in sight, they have to be forced out into the corridors, which we've seen. You know, we're seeing a smoke dancing about outside in the long corridor. The question is, where is then the collapse? Who's the person catching those players as they're running out of sight?
Need to locate and defuse
that's what doesn't sit well with me. Yes, you're doing very, very well at clearing out the site. If you're clearing them out, there should be somebody sitting there just picking them up as they come out one by one by one. That's not happening. You need to have that pinch. If Malvinas are just going to do one thing, just one step at a time, the defenders aren't going to care. They're just going to leave. They're just going to run away.
It's one of the sort of downsides that you fall into when you bring a lineup where almost everybody can do a certain job. You look at Buck Sledge, Iana and Finker, every single one of them can affect vertically, whether it be with nades or a skeleton key. So if everybody's downstairs doing that, what are you relying on, Ragnar, to just pick up the rotations? Like, where's your guy on 90 window? Where's the guy that's, you know, threatening red stairs and top of statuary? That's what you've then got to be thinking of. And I think that's, like, as you say, the trap that Malvinas sort of fell into there inside of that round. They've got a slightly different puzzle to solve this time. They're going to be attacking trophy statuary as Furious stick to a much more familiar rotation here, keeping to those two top floor sites first, and then likely going to go down into the kitchen for the third. Still an intention here with the drone work that's going on to try and get themselves into kitchen. Malvinas thoroughly checking there, just making sure that no stone is left unturned. They are going to, in fact, spot somebody out and they may be able to get a pinch on, especially if Tom's able to open that window quickly enough and really start to put a bit of pressure on Shoxo.
Malvinas do their early drone work, and they will spot out some roamers in towards that living room side. They get the Valkyrie, certainly an operator that you want to try and shut down as quick as you can. Keep in mind that C4 in the back pocket can honestly really ruin the hopes and dreams for the Sledge, for the Buck. As we know, they'll be upstairs only trying to do their best work with the destructibility. And, you know, I think one thing that you have to keep in mind whenever you look at Sledge and you look at Buck is holes work both ways. You know, if you're sitting here bucking below or bucking above, whatever it is that you're doing, someone could just easily peek you. Somebody can easily see for you, and many things can happen to you.
You see kills going in either direction there. VJ getting taken on out there, but not before he took down Socko. So any skeleton key work that is left to do will be remain undone for this round. Still a presence here inside of living room. Do see Valkyrie still playing on down there. Shoxo, he's got a couple of nice lines of sight here that he can try and work with, but may need to find himself in need of a rotation. Might need to get himself back upstairs as his teammates are starting to fall. There is going to be a bit of information here, and he might find himself one at the bottom of Astro, but he needs to play patiently. Going to be going up against BLK here. It's going to be a battle of who is quickest, and Shoxo on the swing is going to find him out. The rotation up there into Astro is now free, but Shoxo isn't going to choose to go that way. He's going to go main stairs instead. Mike takes down Wets as kills start to flood on through. Mike's going to pick up two as he will take down Shoxo as he makes that rotation up red. Tom with one in the middle. Malvinas there, a quick ending to that round.
I'm surprised that he isn't playing the C4 downstairs, Ollie. You know,
that's what I thought he was going to go and do.
You can at least try and get the diffuser carrier at least and give yourself a 1v2, which we have seen definitely winnable before. You know, we've seen Valkyries who sit below, they get C4 kill, they rotate up, and whenever the chaos and the attackers are trying to scramble to pick up the diffuser, Fuse just died, anything can happen. So yeah, very, very strange to see a Valkyrie rotate back up. I thought he was going to go straight into Moto and then, or into Memo and just get a C4 kill straight away. Yeah, bit weird.
Same, because I think a lot of his cameras actually survived there. He certainly had one left inside a kitchen. And if he's got one in maybe master bedroom, you could maybe try and get a bit of info off that. You've at least got an idea. You're going to know the site well enough to just be able to give a C4 a go to see if you can get lucky on it on a default spot. So, yeah, a little bit of a rushed ending, I think, there to the round for Shoxo. For all the Valkyries being played, I think we're seeing the impact of it here and there, but we've not seen a real big round that's been won off the back of a Valkyrie yet.
10 seconds to go.
4-4. It's looking like an OT. Feels as if that's that's the feel I'm getting, Ollie. Shaping up to be that way. Back and forth it goes. You go upstairs again to that trophy statuary. I want to see more explosives from the defense. I just want to come back to that point about the Valkyrie. If you're playing the Valkyrie, if you're playing that information, you should be just all about the C4s. That should be what you live and breathe.
The destructibility just isn't there on both sides, I think. We've not quite seen it from attackers, and we've not quite seen it from defenders, regardless of who's on which side. You know, you think toward the amount of nade kills that we've seen, it's barely any, given the context of what you would expect on a map like Villa when this many nades are being brought. If you're throwing 6 nades around, you're going to end up hitting someone eventually.
So, Malvinas looking to enter in towards the kitchen, in towards dining, and similar to what they were doing last time is start ripping up the floor from below. This is where back can be a great operator to choose in this scenario. You can go below, you can get anything that might be disabling, you know, the Selma charges being there, maybe, you know, Kite charge, but then again, Kite's banned, but also the mute jammers that can be placed there, anyone bandit tricking. It's just something that covers a bit of a checklist. Sadly, it looks as if he's missing the mute jammer just by a fraction. You can see the mute has actually placed the jammer just a few inches back away from the main wall, and that is causing a lot of issues right now for Socko. Let's see how well he does actually find that, because it's right there, Ollie. Obviously, in hindsight, we can see it, but he is struggling with this one.
Mute jammer is still going to be there, but the top of the wall's also been prepped for impacts as well, and this is a very, it's like old magic, isn't it? It's something that you chose to forget. It's, you know, impact tricking is a thing, and occasionally it rears its ugly head, and this is one of the best walls to do it on, given how much you can open up the top of said wall. Now, is it going to matter? Time will tell. Tom is able to find an opener there onto Shoxo. The last player surviving in the previous round. It removes that threat from below, and Tom's going to pick himself up a second. Finally putting those nades to work. Demo was starting to see some nade kills coming on through here. The site is further being pressured, but a shotgun at close range from West is going to net him one and a second. Beautiful swing there from him, but it is not going to be enough. Off the back of Tom and BLK chiming in with one of his own, we're going to see Malvinas start to chain some rounds.
I think we missed a good chunk of that, Ollie, because we were just in awe of that mute jammer. That pesky mute jammer. Oh, it didn't matter in the end, as we've seen, but if you're in that scenario, right, where you're the buck, and you're having a nightmare, and you can't find it, just say, can somebody nade it? That, I don't know why nobody thought, oh, let's just nade it. It's the simple solution. But they made it a lot tougher than what they needed to, Ollie. They really did. But still managing to pick up the kills here or there. And this is, I think, again, this is what happens in Villa. Whenever the attackers, they can just find, you know, 1 kill, 2 kills, they start piling up. And then you can just collapse at about 20 different angles onto the defenders. They have no chance. I think that was showcased very well there in those final 10 seconds. So overall, Malvinas doing what the attackers do best, having that man advantage. But the defense, again, just probably losing their gunfights. Again, like I said, didn't really see a lot of it because we were just so focused in on that mute jammer.
I mean, it ties into what you were saying earlier on in terms of operator bans not always meaning the most here on Villa, in the sense of hard breach operators that get removed, because hard breach, while it's nice to have, it's not essential, and sometimes if you focus a little bit too much on it, it can come back to bite you, especially if there's a sledge that's just going to tear the way through and pick up a load of kills on their own. And that's, I think, kind of the position that Furious found themselves in. A chance to redeem themselves here, switching over to Aviator and Games Room. See if they can't try and keep level here with Malvinas. There was a big lot of focus and a big lot of pressure previously when we saw this site from Malvinas below, and they really sort of tunnel visioned in on trying to use that utility, and I think they managed to get through most of it. I think they were able to open up a lot of the floor and stuff, but as you mentioned, Demo, there was just no one there to take advantage of players rotating.
Yeah, exactly. See if they can maybe think of a different idea or just simply get somebody in a position to catch them. Yeah, that's a simple way. They will enter in from the bottom floor again. In comes the nades, and Tom and BLK didn't actually get any nade kills, I believe, last time they were doing this. So, I say that. There we go. A down. It's not been a kill, but still, it's something.
It's some damage, isn't it? I think Shoxo's going to get picked up for free, but it's at least chunked down. He certainly doesn't want to be anywhere near tanking another nade that's going to be thrown up. Toxic Babe canisters being used on those main stairs as well, just to try and deter any quick push up through. Malvinas not looking to move too quickly here. Another Toxic Babe canister being used there on those main stairs. It's going to be a lot of the denial gone really before anyone's even gotten onto that second floor here, as Socko can start to rip open the floor. Malvinas not in a bad position here. Tom needs to be wary of taking challenges like that, though.
He does indeed. I mean, Malvinas, yeah, like you say, in a good position, but they need to get some picks within the next 30 seconds. If they don't and they're trying to fight in a 5v5, you're moving into trouble. You're moving into a lot of crossfires, a lot of spreads, and you'll start clumping up on a single doorway, and you're moving in one by one just into the sawmill. So they need to be careful, and they've done that. They managed to find one pick. Mighty has decided to walk into the site, and he gets absolutely gunned down by Dirty, but still the refrag comes in. BLK will find another kill, and there goes Tom down. He's also flooded into the bomb site shot, so he was naded very early on inside of the round, but he's still alive and kicking and doing some damage to these Malvinas players. 30 seconds to go. Oh, that's a bad swing from Dirty, and Ragnar will take advantage of it. BLK slipped his way in behind the bar, finds two to clean it up. Malvinas just say, you know what, guys, let's take the gunfights, let's take the flood. And they've walked straight in, and they've done just that.
BLK has an ability in those moments in the round to just come up with all of the kills. It doesn't seem to matter where the defenders are stood. He's going to be in the right position at the right time. The call-outs that are being exchanged there, because all of those locations were known because the defender had just gotten a kill or just been exposed in some way. So the call-out is always going to be there for it. And BLK is just able to chain them one after another after another. That kill in between, I bet that kill in between was pretty nasty because that player was inside of maps near the maps table. So BLK doing a fantastic job there, really putting his team on his back throughout this whole series. It's going to put Malvinas onto a match point here, and more importantly, a match point inside of regulation, so a chance for all 3 points. Yeah,
BLK, just the playmaker, isn't it? And you need somebody like that. You know, whenever you know you have somebody who's just special, there's that special player, you enable them as much as you can. And BLK could just make things happen. That's how special he is. So, I mean, it's going to be difficult now. Whenever you're playing against Tom and also BLK, who are on form, who are hitting their shots, it's going to be tricky for Furious now to come back from that. I think BLK, before we had that rehost, I think maybe he's on like about 15, 14 kills right now, Ollie. So he is in good form.
I mean, at a minimum, he's on 14 kills because he got an ace that we remember prior to the rehost. And he'll have had a couple of kills either side of that in the rounds leading up to it. We rehost on round 5. So there's a chance that he's probably pushing near a 17, 18 at this point, really having a big impact. And we said at the start of the game, we said that it could be a situation where it requires talisman players to really step up to the plate. And we've just not seen that from anybody on the side of Furious. I think maybe the closest we've got is someone like VJ, but even then, it's the performance he's putting in on Villa is nothing like the performance we've just seen him put in on Coastline against Black Dragons. So there's not that consistency there when it comes to, back-to-back best of ones.
Potential final round in this matchup between these two Argentinian sides, and Mighty straight in and shock. So no idea that he was being hunted out downstairs, and he's just sprinting around, and he gets picked off by Mighty. I think he slipped in through the kitchen side of things and in a good position to shut down those rotations. So that's already a strong start for Malvinas. I mentioned the attackers, you need to try and look for those picks, and they've done that. Very nice from Socko. Very nice being able to disable that Banshee charge from below, opening up an angle. Keep in mind those Banshee charges, they have enough range that they will actually go through a floor. Like, for example, if you're standing on a hatch and there's a Banshee charge right below you, it will actually pick you up in the vicinity and it opens itself up to you. So nice little trick for anyone out there if you're having some issues with those Banshee charges. In comes the nades. This is pretty atypical. Mighty with another. This is looking fantastic for Malvinas.
The nades are hitting home, the skeleton key's doing its job, and Malvinas are being very clinical with how they are removing this utility here. Tom's got a chance at a kill as long as he throws it correctly, and he will. Waits until the perfect time. 3 kills found, and nobody has even stepped foot on a staircase yet. And it's probably a good job because Wets is there with a shotgun, picks himself up too. Socko, he's found himself downed as well. This is 2 versus 2 with a minute remaining. There's now time to take stock here from Malvinas, but they're not even going to bother to do that. Wets is shut down on the main stairs. The ever-present threat that he was. Ragnar is going to pick up the last. Malvinas, a clinical last round, not without its fault, but very clean overall. What a performance.
I think the confidence got a little bit ahead of